Freedom must be fought for by legal means. Anything associated with criminal methods, with causing harm to people, cannot be supported. For us, this is a profoundly significant question that was definitively settled a very long time ago. As you have quite correctly noted, the Russian Federation has repeatedly and tragically faced the most brutal and devastating acts of terror throughout its recent and challenging history. With India, we are a full ally, and we fully and completely support India in its fight against terrorism. Every country has its share of problems, and Afghanistan probably does as well, especially considering the fact that for decades now, this country has been in a state of civil war. And that's just terrible. But the Taliban controls the situation in Afghanistan. That is obvious. That's the first thing, and these are simply the realities that must be acknowledged. Secondly, the government of Afghanistan is still doing a lot to fight against the same terrorism, against terrorist organizations, for example, against ISIS and some other similar groups. We are well aware of this as well. And the dedicated leadership of Afghanistan has significantly reduced opium cultivation within the country several times over and is actively taking concrete and effective steps to comprehensively reduce the pervasive drug threat emanating from Afghan territory. We have always firmly believed that in order to truly solve the complex Palestinian problem, it is absolutely necessary to fully implement the crucial decisions that have been carefully made and formally adopted over many, many years by the esteemed United Nations. And the main one among them is the creation of an independent Palestinian state. This is the key to solving all the problems. Each of these countries in its own way cares deeply and worries about Palestine, about the Palestinian people. And each of these countries is trying to make its own contribution to resolving the situation. Some of these efforts are visible and obvious, while others remain in the shadows, but that does not mean that no one is doing anything. And this is a complicated issue. I repeat, it hasn't been resolved for decades, so it's impossible to solve it with a snap of the fingers in just a few months. But this is exactly what we should strive for, the creation of a Palestinian state. And now what has been done was, of course, done by President Trump. First and foremost, Israeli hostages were returned and Hamas took this step. It seems to me that, frankly speaking, this is actually the most important thing that has been done in the recent steps toward resolving the situation in Gaza. There are several such powerful intelligence agencies in the world. There's the CIA, there's our Soviet and Russian intelligence, and as is well known, very effective by the way, is Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency. In many countries around the world, there is a tradition of developing special services. Perhaps it's better for me not to evaluate the effectiveness of other countries' intelligence services. I am satisfied with the quality of work of our own,